course, here is my take for today. The first one is entitled, Calling Out ASUU. Where is the democratic spirit? Plus one commendation at the end. There's a silent but patently critical battle that is going on among our university teachers in this country. It is a fight between the older union, that is the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, and the Congress of University Academics, CONUA. Now, you expect that being an association that was nursed from the wombs of a collective interest-based ideology, the common good, and desirous of entrenching a democratic culture, certain allegations will be unheard from among ASUU. Now, I mean allegations of seemingly deliberate, antagonistic, and punitive actions by ASUU leaders against university teachers who choose not to join ASUU, that is, who are members of CONUA. For decades, ASUU has stood tall, and we must salute them. ASUU has fought many battles for our universities, and nobody can deny that. Now, let me make a bit of a biographical statement here. Only by the grace of God, we reported in the early 90s ASUU's confrontation against the military in defense of university teachers and the right projection for our university system in this country. We forced the issue as journalists, and it became front and center of a national debate. And then the Babangida administration of the day essentially surrendered eventually to ASUU, calling on Chief Olusegun Obasanjo to mediate a truce, then in 1992. Some of us were ASUU's comrades in arms in that battle. It was a noble venture, and some of us would do it again. That is to say, we come from a place of belonging when we talk about the university system and about ASUU. We come from a place of belonging. So why is ASUU now allegedly denying some CONUA members from benefiting in certain federal government emoluments, such as the Consolidated Academic Tools Allowance, specifically in the University of Jos and the Federal University of Lokoja? There are reports that ASUU is arguing that since that allowance came out of the FGN-ASUU agreement of 2025, only ASUU members can benefit. Imagine that. But good thing, the federal government has insisted, and rightly so, that the allowance, which runs to about 1 million naira for junior lecturers to over 3 million naira annually for professors, is for every university teacher that is employed either by the state or federal government. In that case, specifically, the federal government. Now, there's another even more devastating example. In the Kwara State University, the local chapter of ASUU has allegedly written the university vice chancellor and authorized, quote unquote, the bursar of the university to deny university teachers who don't pay their check-off dues to ASUU from benefiting from the new university salary package which came out of that federal government agreement, targeting CONUA members. Can you imagine how more tyrannically audacious can that ASUU local chapter be? So this is where we draw the line with ASUU on this matter. ASUU has tremendous influence, and that is a good thing, but ASUU does not have supremacy over any other union in the universities. In a country that is ruled by law and not by preference of any powerful group, no one union owns the voice of academics in Nigeria exclusively. It means that academics who choose another lawful union should not be punished for it. This is what ASUU is now allegedly doing in at least those 3 universities where the union is reportedly mounting pressure on the authorities of the universities to deny members of CONUA from benefiting from the new salary package and the allowance that came out of the agreement with the federal government. It is our view on inside sources that this is wrong. CONUA members should not be denied just because they are not members of ASUU. Fair is fair. They should not be treated unfairly. They should not be denied what is due to them. And this is not just our view. Like I said earlier, the federal government has spoken clearly. In its letter dated June 9, 2026, the federal government stated that the allowance recently released covering the professorial allowance and the hand academic allowance are for all eligible academics under the university payment system, which is CONUAs. Not some, but all. The emphasis was on transparency and due process. Now, we must talk about representation because that's the bigger issue here. No union, like I said, no matter how old or respected, can claim to speak for academics who are freely and lawfully chosen another union. That is not representation. That will be imposition. And representation without consent goes against the freedom of association and voluntary collective bargaining principles that Nigeria as a country has accepted under the ILO conventions. ASUU cannot and should not be found to be conducting itself in this way in any of the universities, and we hope that these allegations against ASUU are untrue. We run a democracy, and democracy is not built on control, it is built on choice, the freedom of choice. So this silent warfare between ASUU and CONUA is bigger than the two unions. It is about the soul of university unionism in this country. Plurality is no longer a request. It is something ASUU or anyone cannot hand out as a favor because it is a legal reality. It is a democratic culture, and it's already settled by our desire to have a democratic culture and also settled by our courts. Let the authorities in UniJOS, Federal University in Lokoja, and the Kwara State University pay CONUA members their allowances and the new salary packages as and when due. It is their right to receive the pay, and we shall keep an eye on this matter going forward. One last point of commendation. I'd like to commend the Minister of Defense statement that soldiers shouldn't wait for others to deal with terrorists. Now, that is one of the most resonating, useful, encouraging, inspiring statements about these terrorists from anybody in the federal government recently, instead of calling them brothers who need redemption or prodigal sons.